My name is Rhetoric, and I'll be talking to you all why I'm Catholic. Who am I in this world? Is my existence important? What is my purpose? For thousands of years, humanity has asked itself these kinds of questions. What makes us humans stand out compared to other animals is that we don't simply act upon instinct, but also through intellect and will. As humans, we, for some reason, have the tendency to look beyond what is simply material. We ask ourselves the deeper questions of life in search of even deeper answers. Questions surrounding life and death, the human mind and intellect, the concepts of morality, and even reality itself. Whether conscious or not, we all have that innate desire to discover the unknown. Many follow the footsteps of ancient philosophers such as Socrates and Aristotle in search of said truth. Others practice the art of meditation in search of enlightenment. There are even those who push aside this innate curiosity in pursuit of material goods. Yet, it all falls short to Catholicism, the one religion, the one path that leads to truth, beauty, and ultimately, salvation. My experiences as a Catholic have changed my life in ways only God can do, and I am eternally grateful for the things He has done for me. My life as a Catholic started the instant I was born. I was raised in a Catholic household with parents well devoted to the Catholic faith, and they did everything they could to teach me more about Catholicism. As a child, my parents taught me how to pray, and we would pray the rosary together as a family. My parents would also read me Bible stories and the lives of the saints, giving me a sense of wonder for God and admiration for the saints. Once I was able to read on my own, I recall having a small collection of saint books and children's Bibles that near my bed that I would read for fun whenever given a chance. My parents also helped form my Catholic faith by sending me to a Catholic school during my elementary and middle school years. Having a Catholic education at both the school and at home not only gave me knowledge about my Catholic faith, but it has also allowed me to live in an environment where I can grow a connection with God. I remember preparing for my first communion in second grade that my heart was in so much fire for love of Christ that I wanted to become a priest. But that's still in the back of my mind to this day. With the help of my parents, I was able to build what would become a strong foundation of my Catholic faith. But it will take a lot more than a strong foundation to build a house. One has to finish building the walls and the roof before the house is complete. A lesson that I failed to learn early on. When I entered middle school, my faith life became stagnant and empty. Although I knew much about God and through my Catholic faith, I forgot to know God by heart. And so my relationship with Him staggered and became dry. I began to focus more on the rules of the church rather than the reasoning and love placed behind them. I acted cold, hypocritical, became more of a Pharisee than an apostle of Christ. While it looked like I knew much, in reality I knew little, for I forgot about God's love. When I began my high school years in public school, I discovered how little the world knew about God and how little I myself knew about God. Knowing that change was needed, I arrived at Holy Innocent School in my sophomore year, a choice that changed my life for the better. Holy Innocence made me realize that there was still much for me to learn as a Catholic and that I myself needed to change as a result. As I slowly began to learn Catholic doctrine, I was surprised with how much logic and reasoning is instilled within Catholic teachings. While Catholicism requires faith by nature, it doesn't oppose nor reject reason, but rather expects us to use it alongside our faith. Pope John Paul II once said that faith and reason are like two wings on which the human spirit rises to the contemplation of truth. God gave humanity an intellect and the desire for truth so that by looking for the truth, we may encounter Him. St. Augustine once said, You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and my heart is restless until it rests in you. As a Catholic, I am called to know, love, and serve God, so that ultimately I will be with Him in heaven. That is my purpose. That is a meaning of life that philosophers have spent their whole lives searching for. We have been made not for this world, but for God, and to be with God all the days of our lives. While taking a closer look into my Catholic education has greatly reinforced my faith. It is the relationship that I now have with God that has truly defined me as a Catholic and a child of God. As my relationship with God slowly began to grow in my high school years, so did my love for God reignited once more in my heart and slowly began to grow. When I received the sacrament of confirmation 2 years ago, what began as a warm ember soon became a bright fire in my heart, as the Holy Spirit granted upon me its graces, and has stayed by my side ever since. By the help of the Holy Spirit, I have grown a larger spiritual connection with God, and became more in tune with my thoughts and emotions. Growing as a Catholic has allowed me to learn much about myself as a person. I became more self-aware of my personality and tendencies, and I was able to uncover the reasons behind my character. I have learned to accept who I am as a person, while also desiring to change for the better. My prayer life has also increased from my growth of faith. Although I still struggle from routine prayer, it has always been through the help of prayer that I've been able to fully connect with God and to freely converse with Him. Whenever I go through serious hardships or I'm deeply troubled in my thoughts, I would pray to God and the Virgin Mary, expressing my concerns. There have been many times where, while I'm praying during times of distress, where I felt my will strengthened, along with an enormous sense of peace and hope. And even if I might not hear an immediate response to my prayers, I know that God is still listening attentively and still cares for me just the same. So now that I'm graduating, I will soon enter a new chapter of my life. What do I do now? As I'm now one nearing adulthood, my actions will now bear more weight, as I'll soon have more responsibilities. For one, I intend on continuing my education at the University of Dallas to deepen my spiritual life. There is still so much for me to learn about God, my Catholic faith, and myself. And I'm confident that the University of Dallas will help me grow even further as a Catholic. What is even more important, however, wherever I go and whatever I do, is to listen to God's voice and to follow His will. Although I feel called to be a doctor, I know that my purpose in life isn't to do what I want, but to be with God and to serve Him, for He knows what is best for me. And if God calls me toward a different vocation, then I will gladly follow His will. For God isn't some idle being in disguise, but rather He's someone that loves me and wants to be part of my everyday life. And how can I refuse? We all desire to live with a purpose, and it is only through Catholicism where we can find it. Jesus says that He is the way, the truth, and the life. Only through Him can we achieve eternal joy in heaven. As a Catholic, I have discovered my purpose. Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam, for the greater glory of God. That is what I must live by, because at the end of the day, despite my ups and downs, it is only through God that I have found purpose, that I have found truth, that I have found life.